You. I was asked a question tonight, and it's an interesting question. We got into it. I was looking at this whole Donald Trump over there in Europe, jumping around and stuff like that. Going over there to visit the Queen, old Prince Charles. You know, I'm just having fun, and it turns out the Brits are pretty funny people. Even the lefties, you know, the lefties are kind of funny over there. They have a good sense of humor, and I brought up the fact that it was a CNN video. Jake Tapper said something about the president's over there desecrating. How did he put it? Desecrating sacred grounds or something like that. Apparently he made some comments when he was at the cemetery over there in Normandy, and he made some comments, you know, just typical Trump, you know, just making his comments, and they picked out the fact he's on sacred soil, how dare him criticize, you know. And it was kind of a lame video. Typical CNN, fake news, you know. Well, they didn't get the whole thing. I saw the whole thing in context, and it was like Fox. You know what's funny is because CNN is now rehashing Fox News footage to get views, which is really weird. You know, they got to resort to taking Fox News and putting it on their stuff, and then commenting on Fox News. Just, you know, there's a rule in journalism. Don't become the news, you know, don't. And they're doing it all the time. CNN is doing it to them, they're doing it to them. The news is the news. And it's really not. It's just a bunch of people throwing mud at each other. It's kind of cringy, honestly, but neither here nor there. I get down in the comment section, and apparently there's a bunch of English people in there, you know, from England, real English people, and they were saying stuff like, you know, yeah, the typical lefty stuff, you know, aren't you scared? Aren't you scared? Aren't you worried about what Trump's going to do? And they got the British flag for a little icon, so I kind of picked up on that. I knew I was talking to a Brit. Said, no, not really. You know, I was born in Chicago a long time ago. Many moons ago. And the thing about it is, I had to think about it, though. Aren't you worried about what Trump is doing? All right, well, I had to go rethink about my whole life. The times I was worried, you know. See that? Southside, represent. This is my away hat. Anyhow, so I was, had to think back times I was worried, you know. I was worried when they were talking about acid rain. When I was a little kid, first thing I can remember being scared about. First thing was tornadoes. You know, we had to hide under our desk. And, or get in the hallway. I think it was get in the hallway for that one. Hiding under your desk was for nuclear holocaust in case the Russians attacked. We had to go through that. Kids today don't have to do that anymore. So those millennials, I don't think there's a millennial alive today that had to hide under their friggin' desk in case of a nuclear friggin' holocaust. You know. And then they showed us pictures. I remember just seeing little movies in class of what a nuclear bomb looked like. And then, you know, and the teacher. And I hate to go through old Lewis, what was his name? Lewis, he's a comedian. But teachers, and he was right. Teacher getting slammed up against the chalkboard, chairs and desks flying, windows blowing out, glass everywhere. You know, that's what it looked like. Those little tests back in the 40s, you know, and 50s. Well, these nuclear bombs, what they would do. You know, it's just completely, you know, it melt your skin right off. Trees getting waft, you know, that kind of thing. And I was like 6 years old when they were showing us this movie. You know, that scared the hell out of me. Okay, so I had to worry about that. Then there are tornadoes. You know, you go out in the hallway, tuck your tuck your head between your knees, kiss your ass goodbye. You know, get down there, have a little talk with your little pecker. You know, then there's that. And the reason they did that is so they, you know, when they come to collect the bodies, they know who you were. They can identify the body in case it was a charred remains, and you know, at least your locker fell on top of you, and you know, so when they lift the locker up, your name's right there. You know, that's what that was all about. I come to find out later. Assigned seating. That's why. So when you're hiding under your desk, they can, you know, they find the little charred remains and find out who you were. You know, look up at the chart on the board. If it was still on the wall, you know, if the wall was still there, they can find out who you were, and you know, you can have a proper burial. But that being said, we had a lot of that going on. So, so yeah, going back down to the things I was scared of, you know. And we had a blizzard of 79. This actually happened. It had snow about 9 feet high in front of my house. I couldn't even get out of the house. We thought we were gonna die. So then there was acid rain. We had covered that. What else was there? Global warming. Global warming. We lived through that. We had oh hell, global cooling, climate change. You know, they called it climate change because they couldn't really figure out if it was cooling or warming. They couldn't figure it out because it only had like a 1-year study. So that didn't help. So they're still going this climate change thing because they still can't figure out what's going to happen because the sun keeps heating up and cooling off, and they can't figure it out. If we can have a thermostat on the sun, that'd be nice, and just shut all the lefties up. You know, if it gets too cold, we could turn it up. If it gets too hot, we could turn it down. That'd be nice to have like a little actuometer on the sun. That'd be fun. You know, and play jokes on the Inuits, and we'll turn it up. Let's see you hunt a polar bear now, you son of a bitch. So yeah, we could do that. That would be fun. I love kicking cans down the road. So we got that. Then we had Y2K. I lived through that. You know, the world was gonna the world's gonna end. So there was that, and then there was what was there? Anthrax. You know, we had to get some duct tape and buy a pallet full of bottled water, which is kind of a new invention back then. Not a lot of water came in bottles back in the 80s, but in the 90s it was all the popular thing. Just as soon as they started putting water in bottles, it just so happened we needed it. Huh, go figure. You know, so everybody bought a pallet of bottled water and some ramen noodles. You know, everybody also, because everybody wanted to be preppers. So everybody believed that, and that didn't happen. So everybody got stuck with, you know, 15,000 cases of water. And a whole bunch of duct tape, plastic, you know, visqueen and stuff, 6mm plastic for over the windows in the middle of summer. Yeah, it was real nice. Then we had, what else did we have? Yeah, Y2K. Oh, the anthrax. We had Tylenol that was laced with, I think it was arsenic or cyanide, one of the two. But yeah, that was going around the 80s, so we couldn't buy Tylenol anymore. We ended up having to put shrink seal labels and shrink seal. Another thing you millennials are never have to worry about. Then we had clown attacks. Clown attacks a couple years ago. Everybody's getting attacked by clowns. Just all kinds of shit to scare people. But Donald Trump, he don't scare me none. You know, Donald Trump don't scare me none. You know, after dealing with all that, now we got 5G. They're talking about it's gonna melt your nuts off. Fellas, it only affects men. Women don't have testicles, so it doesn't affect them. So all the men are supposed to be scared of 5G now. And the Chinese. How's that work? I don't know. You think they'd want to include women in that one. That one's kind of exclusive. So if you're talking about 5G, you're excluding other people. YouTube will censor and flag you if you're talking about 5G. That doesn't help any anyways. Scaring the shit out of people doesn't help when we're trying to get things done. You know, it's just another thing to talk about. Meanwhile, what's really going on, we don't know. But I don't think, you know, they're setting up satellites and stuff. I guess China's the new threat. Now China and 5G. So no, I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. It is what it is. Peace. If you like what you see, thumbs up. Don't like it, thumbs down. Subscribe, click the bell. And I'll be getting back at you. My 10 minutes are up.